All right, check, check. Hello, everybody. Let me know if we're sounding good, looking good. We're back again for another week of Tech Support Live. I'll be your host. I'm Angelo. I'm the Senior Interactive Media Specialist at NETGEAR. I never really set that up. I manage this YouTube channel, the Nighthawk Gaming Twitch channel, and really, if you follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, there's probably a chance that I might have had a hand in some of the content you may have seen. But I really I want to tell everybody here in the chat, thank you for joining the show. If this is your first time here, we are here to answer all your tech support questions. So whether you're looking to set up a router, whether even, let's just have a conversation here. I do see a couple comments here, waiting on kind of like confirmation of getting your product here. So let's go ahead and keep you guys in the loop here. But everyone here who is new, let's go ahead and introduce the rest of the panel here. Ben, you are up next, and your face is a little to the right. Let me, should I move that? Or
No.
Move that? All right.
I'll move that. We'll figure this out. Hey everybody, I'm half my face is a Nighthawk Pro Gaming brand experience manager. I am here to answer all of your questions on the XR1000 and the 500. I'll see what I can do about R2, but we're not so much the manufacturer of that. Here, what a great Friday! Thanks everybody, and I'll move it over to Michael.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael, technical marketing manager at NETGEAR, and I'm here to help out with any questions that you have. I get to play around with a lot of the new tech that we have. Anytime there's a new product, I'm usually beta testing it, and look forward to helping you in any way I can. All right, Darren, up to you.
I'm Darren. I'm a technical support specialist at NETGEAR and also a community moderator, and I cover just about any home networking product in our community.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me here for another great Friday stream. Again, this is something that we do every week from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. So if you guys want real-time help, you guys just want to come and hang and chat out, we're here. We just want to kind of keep you guys in the loop. I did want to shout out some of our regulars here. Tiptoe Turtle, we're going to go ahead and kick it off to you for our first question, but I wanted to thank you for coming back and then joining the show. And I know you all are waiting on the shirts. Let me give you a story. I was missing one size here, and I gotta like send it all out into one batch. So we just got that last remaining size, and pretty much now it's ready to go. So you should be able to get those as long as you guys are in the US, which I believe you guys are. That is about 2-day shipping, so expect that by the end of next week. I know I said that 2 weeks ago, but that's on me. That's on me. I promise you guys. But Trina, we got Trina in the chat here. She's actually been a guest in our last virtual event. So everybody say hi to Trina. Thank you for joining.
Hello.
Kev is back. And Ryan Fries, I noticed that you are our happy regular of Shady Joker. So welcome back. And Food ASMR, I've been noticing you in the chat here recently. So love seeing you guys back every single week. All right, so let's kick it off. Let's get right down to business.
Right down to business.
Let's have a conversation.
Turtle.
Let's do it. What do you got, man?
Real quick, did you order it through NETGEAR or did you order it through Amazon? Amazon says it may never be in stock again. That's not true. It's not like we only made like a limited edition of those. That would have been cool. The thing with the 1000 is, we put out the 500 and people were like, okay. And we put out the 300 and people were like, meh. And we put out the 700 and people were like, okay. And it took a while for all of those to sort of, get some steady traction on sales. And so a little bit on us, we underestimated how much you guys wanted this so bad. And so we sold out everywhere, like everywhere. And with the crazy year that we're having, supply chains are a little bit difficult, but we are trying to get them back in stock as quickly as possible. I was hoping to have a cool announcement today about that, but it looks like it's probably going to be sometime next week. and so those that have pre-ordered were getting to you as quickly as possible, but we blew through our entire stock, and that's just the gospel. That's the truth there.
Yeah. And I just wanted to kind of mention there is a little bit of a difference if you order directly from the NETGEAR store versus on Amazon. I'm not too sure kind of how these products roll out from channel to channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with that, like it's got to go. So if you're ordering through Best Buy or Amazon, it goes to us, and then we ship out to those channels, and then they ship it out to you once they've received it. So there's a little bit more of a lag time going through Amazon or Best Buy, but we're trying to get it out as quickly as possible. I don't know if you've responded in the chat. Pre-ordered on Amazon, yeah, and it's been a little bit slow trying to get it out to Amazon. The ones that we took as pre-orders from NETGEAR, all of those were all of the pre-orders, which were a good portion of our stock, went out to those people first. Amazon should be getting their allocation very, very soon. Hopefully, if we Tiptoe Turtle, if you could, send your email to our team, we'll follow up. We'll get you an answer offline.
Yeah. So Tiptoe Turtle, we want to make sure that you're good and you're set. Again, kind of like what Ben mentioned, if you order directly from us, we have a little bit more control. When we go through, like, let's say a third-party seller like Best Buy or Amazon, it may take a couple extra steps just because we have a little less control over which products roll out first. So we do have that email, netgearteam@netgear.com, and then our team will make sure that we can go ahead and follow up and then really see when that next allocation is coming from our factories over to Amazon and then over to you.
Yep.
And as you said, because of COVID, there are supply constraints with everyone. And so it is taking a bit longer to get all the components to be able to make it and then getting stuff shipped out. I know I had to order a cover for my hot tub, and I was told 6 to 8 weeks, and then they updated it and said it was going to be 8 to 12 weeks. That's how long things can take, because supply is tough, and if something's really popular, it sells out really fast. So we're feeling the pain as well.
Yeah, and we're trying our best. I think that's kind of like the thing here, right? Especially this, and then I'm telling you, I think you could ask anyone here on the team. We've been grinding, right? I think that our suppliers, they're working as hard as they can to actually turn everything out. Because everyone, I think, is starting to realize that need, especially working from home, learning from home, everything, right? This is actually probably some of the more intense years, and I've been here for a few years, that I've seen, just kind of working for NETGEAR, kind of seeing a little bit of the craziness behind the scenes. But, this is kind of where we're at, right? We want to make sure that we're doing these weekly streams to make sure that we're communicating out with you guys. I know that you could yell at me for the shirts, and I welcome you for that, right? But look at me. I'm here every single week trying to make sure that you guys are being heard and we're listening. So please, come by, check in on us, and, we're going to get you all that information as soon as we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool.
And we are always as transparent as we're legally able to be.
Yep. Exactly. So we'll try not to spill the beans too much, but we want to make you guys happy, right?
So let's move on. Let's move on. Who do we have next?
We got Kev Herbert, another return. All right. It says, when will the MS60 single satellite UK version be on sale? So I guess this is actually another availability question.
Well, actually, I went out to the Amazon UK site, and the MS60 is available on the site right now. And it looks like it's in stock because it says Prime Delivery, get it by October 18th.
Nice. Hey, Kev, go ahead and check that out. See if you're able to kind of see the same end, but it looks like it is available now. So hopefully that's good news. Thank you for going ahead and checking that, Michael.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, Shady Joker, what is up? We love seeing you back here. Or I don't know if you want me to call you Ryan now or Shady Joker.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Shady Joker.
I like
Ryan.
Shady Joker. Shady Ryan. Shady Fries. All right. Ben, I'm going to toss this one up to you. Can I adjust my power strength for devices on your app for the XR500?
Unfortunately, the answer is no. The Nighthawk app does not have that capability at this moment. You're still, the best way is to go into the web interface and adjust your settings for Doom OS in there. You can do basic things with the Nighthawk app, like check speed or reboot the router, which is pretty convenient because if you're like me, getting up and moving, those would be, getting up and moving to the router and then, trying to reset it. It's easier just to do it from your device. But yeah, unfortunately, that's the long answer to that.
Okay, awesome. But yeah, please stay tuned. I think there's, we're rolling out new features as we go, but the best way you can control pretty much all your settings is going to be through the web GUI, which is Doom OS, which you already do have.
And then Kendall, welcome back. And let me take a wild guess at who got an XR 1000. I'm going to say Kendall got an XR 1000.
Kendall, all right. Hey, Kendall, I'm going to toss a question back to you. How is it? Did you already set it up? Do you like it? We want to hear everything, right? It's such a new product. And again, like, it's been crazy seeing kind of the demand. Like, when we did our live event, that was 100% our most popular one. Literally couldn't even keep up with the comments. And actually, I did see a comment a little bit farther down here. People are really interested in watching kind of like a guided tour for Doom OS. So
yeah,
again,
we posted that out to you guys last week. So
yeah,
don't forget, get those questions. Maybe we put in your question, put hashtag XR1000, and then when we download the chat, we can pull out all those by looking for that hashtag. So put hashtag XR1000 and then put your question for our soon to be kind of walkthrough. Junior had a question. Was good. When is the R2 NetDuma firmware coming out? Unfortunately, I have no insight into the NetDuma products because those are NetDuma's product. But you could probably go to the NetDuma forum and find out when their next release is. And that leads us to Wayne. How do you get the Duma 3.0 beta for the XR500? You just got to wait a couple more weeks. Right now, it is in alpha testing, and so that means that a solid beta should be coming soon.
Awesome.
You mean the 700? You said 500.
Sorry. Yeah, 700.
Yep. And it looks like we skipped over Jason Whitaker's question on how to enable bridge mode on his modem since the option doesn't show up in the Nighthawk app.
And I did scroll a little bit farther down here. So the products that Jason's got is a C6250. And I think he's maybe having an issue with the firmware update as well. And shout out, you did mention about technical support. That is for kind of like a more like on the phone kind of like walkthrough kind of support, but we're going to help you as best we can during the stream today. And really, if we still got to iron out a little bit more details, again, remember, we do this every single week, every Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific time to 1 p.m. And you got us as a resource as well if you don't want to shell out anything yet. But I'm going to toss this up to Michael and Darren, hopefully. I'm not sure if there's anything that you guys may have seen in terms of bridge mode on the C6250. I do know that as long as you're able to access the settings, it should be available, but I'm not sure if you have any insight to that.
Well, looking at some of his additional comments that he's also having problems doing the firmware update, that makes me think that there is some problem, with the unit itself, because the firmware update should be pretty straightforward. Some things to recommend before you even try to get it into bridge mode, you definitely want to be up on the latest firmware. And if you can't install the latest firmware automatically, you can manually download it off of the NETGEAR Support site and then do a manual update. If you've tried that and you're having problems, then I would recommend you factory reset your modem first, go in, then try to do the manual update of the firmware. because if the firmware update isn't working, then I wouldn't want to put it into bridge mode because that may cause even more problems.
There's an issue there, Michael. He has a cable
Oh.
product, so he can't manually update the firmware. That's all controlled by the ISP.
If he got it through the ISP, if he bought it directly through us, then yeah, he can update with our firmware.
No, he can't.
No,
He can't?
No. All cable products
the cables are locked.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we send our firmware to the ISP to be pushed out by the ISP. The only problem with that, with our cable products, is they decide when they want to give you our firmware.
Right.
So you have no control over updating the firmware on that unit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a frustration because my CM was it 1100 is the firmware hasn't been updated in almost like a year, but a certain cable company that wants you to use their X awesomeness or whatever hasn't pushed out that firmware. So it's frustrating because there's a new firmware for it.
But
until they certify it, they're not going to push it out.
Yeah.
And if they don't have a real impetus for certifying it, then it can take a really long time.
You could clock it in geological time, unfortunately.
Jason, I also had Christian in the chat link you a KB on how to make that a modem only to bridge it. It gives you the steps that you need to do via your web browser to make that possible.
Let me go ahead and kind of let me fix my window here a little bit. Sorry, guys. But you should.
Oh, and then Jason, sorry to cut you off, Angelo, but Jason said that he was advised by the ISP that they cannot update it. Yeah, that's the kind of the dance that they do where they're like, it's not us, it's them. But it's really them.
So this KB article, I'm just kind of scrolling through it right here. I'm wondering if this is enough information to kind of get the ball rolling on a couple next steps here, or if there's really any other resources that might be able to help out Jason. Okay. Well, this is to set up the modem to be a modem only. And okay. So if we go through this step, okay. Because I think there's like a two-part question in here, right? You got to set it up to bridge mode, but then he's also got trouble updating it. If you can't update it through the ISP, I think there was a follow-up, I guess, comment saying the ISP doesn't want to update the modem for whatever reason. Do you think that this might be able to kind of get to that next step into getting it to bridge mode?
Well, one question I would have is when the ISP said that they couldn't update it, was there a reason why they were saying they couldn't? Did they try to actually push an update out and it didn't work? Or were they saying that there wasn't any newer version of the firmware at this time, so they couldn't update it? Because them just saying they can't update it doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because normally when they have a firmware that's rolling out on a particular platform like this, it'll get pushed out to all of those units that are currently subscribed to them. So a little bit more info as to why they said they couldn't update the firmware, or are you actually on the latest firmware they're willing to offer?
And Melissa, I recognize you from the chat. Welcome back. Just to kind of bring you and also everyone here who is just joining the show up to speed here. Jason, we are pretty much trying to get your issue resolved in terms of getting your modem to bridge mode, so we could, I think, play it a little bit better with your Nest. I think you have a couple Nest products, right? So there is an article that we do have to set your modem to modem only, which I would actually think, though, it's like your modem is also only modem only, right? It's not like it's a gateway. The C62.
It's a gateway. It's a combo unit.
Oh, it is a combo unit. Okay.
That's why it's to set it in bridge mode.
Perfect. So try that. Yeah, definitely try that out.
But to answer Michael's question, I can kind of answer for Jason, since I worked at a cable company for 5 years. The frontline guys have no clue when this question comes in. Like Ben was saying, they just divert because they have no clue and they don't want to upset their customer to save their stats. So when you ask questions of like, why isn't this getting pushed out my firmware, they have no info on that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Their job is to make sure that their satisfaction stats are high, so that way, yeah, it's a rough gig.
All right. So let's try to split this up into a couple steps here. Is the first step to go ahead and try out putting your gateway, set it to be modem only. Is that the first thing we would recommend?
Yeah, he's trying to connect his mesh network to it, so he would not want the double NAT to be happening.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so Jason, go ahead and check out this article. We actually have Christian out in our live control room, our virtual control room. He'll be sending out these helpful resources out to you guys during the show today. So Jason, go ahead and try this out. I'm trying to kind of just imagine, though, once he does have his gateway to be modem only, every step after this, he's got to have a laptop with the Ethernet cable plug in directly to his gateway, and then try out bridge mode. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Melissa, Melissa is, what's the model number for the Google modem? All right. I do have a question actually for Jason. Is the C6250 your standalone unit? Like, as in you got nothing plugged in? I know you mentioned something about Nest. I'm not sure if you're talking about Nest Wi-Fi or if you're talking about your Nest thermostat that is maybe having trouble connecting to it.
No, I think it was Nest Wi-Fi.
Nest Wi-Fi.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I have a Nest Wi-Fi modem, and their support told me to.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to put it into bridge mode if you were using the Wi-Fi off of the cable modem as well. Because putting it in bridge mode is going to turn the Wi-Fi off.
Okay. Okay. So this does make sense.
It's just acting as almost a pass-through switch.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we definitely do not want double NAT here. So that first step is going to set it pretty much to make sure your modem is only going to be doing modem things. So once you get through that first step, then should he try setting it to bridge mode, or is that it?
Well, once he's got it, set to bridge mode, that should be it.
Yeah.
Then, as Ben said, it's just acting as a pass-through. It's basically the communicator to the internet, but it doesn't try to do anything else but just pass information through, and that'll go to his router. And then from the router, he will have his network. So once it's in bridge mode, he shouldn't have to do anything else. Okay,
perfect. So this 1KB article should be able to solve the issue. Okay, yes, Jason. So I do see your follow-up comment down at the bottom here. So if you follow this step, the one that we mentioned in the KB article a little bit earlier in the chat, how to set up the cable modem / router to be modem only, try this, and this should be able to get your NETGEAR modem, NETGEAR gateway to play with your Nest Wi-Fi a little bit smoother. And just ultimately, especially because Nest is a mesh system, like, you don't want all these like Wi-Fi SSIDs kind of bouncing around your house. It's a lot, right? So you're going to be able to get your devices to play a little bit better as long as you try out this step. So we're about halfway through the show. If you give it a shot, please let us know and give us updates. And then if you're running into anything else, just drop it in the chat. I know you might got to disconnect the Wi-Fi, blah, 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 do a couple things here, but you got us for another 34 minutes. So give it a shot and give us some updates, and then we'll kind of circle back once you're ready.
Do we need to do a speed run on a few questions here?
I don't know. We're not at the end yet. That's usually at the last 5 minutes when we're we're kind of rapid firing just to make sure that we could hear everyone out. So that's why I highly recommend you guys come in early. Come in early. Drop in your questions first. If you drop in your question first, we go chronologically. And if you don't have enough time, apologies, but we will be able to get to you next Friday as long as you are in the chat first. Okay. We got. All right. I gotta actually scroll all the way back up a little bit again.
Yeah, I think the next one was Ricky B.
Ricky B.
Yep.
All right. the two things question, the two-part question. Okay, number one. Oh, okay. I did see a couple comments kind of coming in from Christian as well on this. So I think Ricky is still looking to hear back for the R7960P, and I think you got an RMA out for that one. And number two, bought the CM1200 to replace your Aris, and the internet got slower. Okay.
Yeah, definitely shouldn't have gotten slower because the SB6141 is a DOCSIS 3.0 and the CM1200 is a DOCSIS 3.1. So it does have more capability, and you should at least be getting whatever speed you were getting out of your previous modem. One thing that I'd ask is, how are you actually testing your internet speeds? If you're going to someplace like speedtest.net, then the one thing you need to make sure of is that you're testing against the exact same site. Otherwise, you'll get varying speeds. I usually recommend, if you're using something like speedtest.net, that you choose the server you're pinging against as your ISP server if it's on the list. For instance, I have Comcast. I always try to ping against Comcast server because I know that that's going to show me the maximum speed I'm going to get. Also, how much of a difference are you getting? If we're talking very 5% difference, then that could just be an anomaly in the speed tests, and it's not really that impactful. If you're seeing a big difference, then yeah, we would definitely want to look into it, because you should be getting at least the same speeds off of the CM1200, if not more.
Yeah, and I'm curious, Ricky, if you're seeing this in like real world speeds, like let's say you're having no issues streaming Netflix at 9 o'clock at night, and then now you are, right? There's going to be some differences if you're doing just like a raw speed test like during the middle of the day during peak like work from home hours. I'm interested to see like what your performance head is looking like in terms of you're maybe not able to do as many things. But two, we also want to make sure that you will get updated on the R7960P, the RMA. I believe that Christian did send out a follow-up. We'll be able to reach out to you offline, just because if we're going to be trading all this case information, we want to make sure that we can keep it contained within that email. So you should be able to hear back a little bit more on the status. We'll be able to get that to you pretty shortly. But yeah, Ricky, let us know if there's any other follow-ups. I think, Michael, you did a pretty good job of kind of adding a little bit more detail into the speed issue. But Ricky, let us know if there's anything in specific that you want us to address here.
Yep. And the one other thing I would recommend when you're running that speed test is, if you can, do it wired and not wireless, because with the wireless, you're adding in just one more variable that could affect your speed. So with wired, that's usually the best when you're trying to run the speed test.
Perfect. Yep, another really great tip. See, that's kind of also a theme that we've had here on the show. Keep a good Ethernet cable on you handy, right? Like, I think these are just general tips that I have also learned as well, is if you're replacing a router, let's say you got I have an R7000P that actually they gave to me on my first day, actually. I still have it. I don't use it. But in case my primary router goes down, I got a backup. Same thing with Ethernet cables. I got a big bag of these Ethernet cables, and make sure that you are actually kind of keeping in check how new or how old they are. I realize my bag of Ethernet cables is pretty old, so I actually don't know what kind they are. But Ethernet cables, backup routers.
And make sure that you're not missing any the clip, because that causes loose connection. Kinks in the line can cause problems.
Wrap them up nicely.
Yeah, wrap them up. I personally like the flat cables, because I think that they tend to crinkle up a lot less than the round cables.
Yeah,
but that's just a preference that I have.
And I think a lot of our newer products are shipping out with those now, especially the Wi-Fi 6 ones that I've seen on the Wing Design RX 80, 120. They should come with the new updated kind of flat cables. If you guys are on Wi-Fi 6 products, you guys will know what I'm talking about. All right. I wanted to make sure that we address this one. This one is actually above Ricky B here. Chris R, did we get you? Is the XR700 stronger than the XR1000?
The XR700, I would almost say that it's kind of, spec-wise, it's definitely the 700. But in how would I put it?
You go first, and I have another analogy after you go next.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that the XR700 is like a 71 Challenger with a Hemi. It's super powerful. It's huge. It's gonna blow the tires off. And the XR1000 is more like a newer Challenger. It's got a smoother ride. It's got better gas mileage. It's got airbags, better suspension, better steering. It may not have that same power of the Hemi engine and going in a straight line, but now it can do something that the other one couldn't do, and that's corner. So if you're following my car analogy,
I was gonna have a car analogy. Can I go?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
All
Where
are you going on this?
I was thinking the Extra 700. It's kind of like your Land Rover, right? It's like a deck, like let's say a 2018, like pretty high specs. Let's say the highest like SE like level Land Rover, right? It's gonna be, really nice experience. It has like all the bells and whistles you need, and in reality, it's probably a little too much if like you're just going out city driving. I don't know if you're taking your Land Rover out to the
that's
off-road,
actually
right?
pretty good. It's got everything that you could survive in the jungle, but then or snorkel through the Amazon, but you're just driving it back and forth the safe way.
Yeah. But your Extra 1000's kind of like it's like your Model S. It's like your Tesla, right? It's like it's to that new standard. You you're going to Wi-Fi 6 now. You're going to electric now. It is that smoother ride. It is the future. You're future-proofing yourself a little bit. It has a lot of really great features, but it's not as kind of like bulky, and you can't really take it off road and do as many other things as like Extra 700. Extra 700, you got Plex, you got AD, you got like bunch of other bells and whistles here that other folks
fiber
may not.
port.
Fiber
Yep,
port, yes.
fiber port. There's some cool things with the 700. It really is like, and the thing about the 700 is, it's probably the most, it's based off of the most powerful. Like, it's the Saturn V of all of our routers. I swear to God, it's the most powerful router that we ever made, and with that, it's almost too powerful for what people actually need. And the 1000 is kind of little scaled back on power, but don't that's like saying that like modern V4s are modern V4 will blow away a 40-year-old V8. It just has it's just more efficient, and the 1000 is more efficient. It's got a tri-core processor. It's still got a beefy processor. It's got just as much memory. I've actually noticed a huge upgrade from the 500 to the 1000. So I would say it's really kind of where you are. If there's certain niche features that you need, like VR, that uses AD, or you really want that Plex server, or you just have a metric gaggle full of devices in your home and you need that processor, then I would go with the 700. But barring that, the 1000 is kind of the way of the future, and I would go that way.
At the end of the day, these are all really sick cars. These are all really great products.
Exactly.
You're going to be happy.
You're going to be happy either way.
Yeah. Just do a little research and kind of figure out what features matter to you the most. I'm actually going to go down a little bit. Sorry, I'm going to skip around here. I did see one coming from Wayne while we're talking about the Extra 1000. I looked at the Extra 1000, but it was missing ports that I have on the Extra 700, where you have port aggregation, right?
Yeah, the 700 has a lot more ports, and it does have aggregation. And if that's super important to you, then I would say the 700.
Yep, exactly. So everyone's got a little different of a wish list. You just got to figure out.
No router has enough ports for everything that you need. So usually, ports on the router aren't going to matter as much, except for the link aggregation if you're using that. Otherwise, you should put a switch in, because you'll be able to get a lot more ports than on that.
And they're a lot more efficient at that.
Oh yeah. In my home, if I just tried going off my router, I'd probably be about 25 ports too short
Yeah.
because I have that many switches around the house that I need to be able to connect that many devices.
I go from my router to my my port. I go to my router to my switch, which is the SX10, and that has aggregation on it, and it also has multi gig. It's just
In fact,
Ah.
there it is, right there,
Ooh.
the
Oh,
SX10
man.
with a lot of cables.
A lot
all
of
over.
cable. Well, that's why
That's-
you need a switch.
Exactly.
Wow. Again, Michael, again, he's got all the toys. So if you got questions about this kind of stuff, Michael's your guy. Thank you for showing us a little behind the scenes here.
Yeah, we're down to excuse me. We're down to about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
let's keep going. Let's keep going.
just keep
I know we're
jamming.
having fun here with the
Well,
extra 700, 1,000.
Yeah, I think the
stuff,
next one
but,
was Dave Garrett.
Yep. So this one's going to be a little bit interesting, actually. So Dave, you got a rather old wireless barcode scanner. Supports 802.11b and G, but refuses to connect to the EX80. I suspect I need to update its firmware unless you have any ideas. What do you
Well,
guys
there's a couple of things. First of all, really B and G, that's not just a little old. That is more than a decade,
That's-
probably 2 decades old at this point.
That's Wi-Fi 2 and 3, isn't it?
Yes. And
Yeah.
G was more than a decade at least. So yeah, it's very, very old protocol. Now, of course, all routers are backward compatible. So even the XR1000 supports all the way down to 11A. So, it should still work. But because those products are so old, they often tend to have problems with newer Wi-Fi hardware. One thing with the EX80, though, is make sure that you have Smart Connect turned off on your router, so you're not trying to merge the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz band, because that in itself, I'm sure, would cause problems with something using that old on those older bands.
Yeah, that's very similar. Kindles have a difficulty time connecting. They won't connect to 5, but they'll connect to 2.4. So you have to split out your network.
Yep.
For
And
sure.
that old hardware a lot of times doesn't send all of the information that our newer hardware needs to know which band it's supposed to be on. And so then you end up with it being put on the wrong band and then not being able to connect.
Yep. So super, super, super agree. Turn off Smart Connect. Make sure you are connecting to the 2.4. In reality, it should only see that.
Yep.
And just for some context, Ben, we all know your favorite question here. Things as old as a PS4 may not even be able to see these newer protocols, right? So imagine something a little bit older, right? Just
Right.
a little bit of added context here. But give it a shot and let us know, right? These are just some tips. It should work, but you got to do a couple steps in order to get there.
You're going to give me a reputation of hating on the
No,
hating the PlayStation, but yeah, I do.
I mean, I am the PS5 kind of person. Once Gran Turismo comes out, so we'll get there when we get there. All right. All right, Mondo, we want to make sure that you got your question answered here in the beginning. So we're actually going to start kind of rapid firing this kind of stuff. I know we kind of like to chat here, but let's keep going. Mondo got an extra 1,000 and a CM1000 for your 1 gig cable internet setup. Awesome. One question though. The 5 gigahertz band is getting great speed, but only 7 megabits per second on 2.4. Is that normal? I don't think that's normal.
No, normally you are going to get a lower speed on your 2.4 than your 5, but you should not be down to just 70 megabits on the 2.4. You should be getting much faster speed as long as whatever client it is that you're using, supports more than 70. But no, that is not normal. You shouldn't be getting speeds that are that low.
Yeah, I'm curious on. I think there were a couple things I think we mentioned at the beginning of the stream here. I think making sure you are on the same ISP server, I think, right? And then I'm just trying to imagine if there's a difference between your client device doing a speed test versus, let's say, another device. Like, I'm checking the comments on my iPhone, right?
So here's another thing. What kind of device are you checking on that 2.4? And if it is it when gaming is happening, or where is it in the prioritization? It could be possible. Like, I always feel like my phone gets like slower speeds than anything else, and I
Mhm.
think it's because of the way that I have things prioritized.
Mhm. And I also want to ensure like you guys are also updated to the newest firmware. I know that Extra 1000 is such a young product, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
still has the one firmware. So,
mhm.
but yeah, that would be check your QoS and how you have it set up, and run your connection benchmark. You should be getting the speeds that you're looking for.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I would double check that. I think that there may be a prioritization thing that's
Mhm.
happening.
So connection benchmark. I know that is new to Dumas 3.0.
It is.
So I'm kind of curious on.
It'll tell you what your actual speed is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay. And we're getting a couple updates. It's testing with a phone and laptop separately. Also tested right after a factory reset. No other devices connected.
Hmm.
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 What's your speed on your 5 gig, on your 5 gigahertz network? I'm kind of curious on that. If you're getting your full speeds on there, but that is interesting to hear about a
Yeah,
bottleneck
that
with
is.
2.4. Because if
Well,
anything, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it could be just interference. A lot of stuff runs on 2.4 gigahertz in your home. Like I know,
True.
like Xbox controllers, stuff you don't even think about runs on Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, or microwaves or appliances could interfere with some of the speed, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely assuming that when you're doing these speed tests, that you're doing it from the same location when you're testing the 5 and the 2.4. So it's apples to apples comparison. Using the same device and the same speed test, you want to make sure of as well. So everything is apples to apples. But otherwise, unless there's a huge amount of interference, you should be getting much faster connection speeds than 70.
Mm-hmm.
Did Mondo happen to say which speed test he was running?
Yeah, Mondo, yeah, let us know. So I think you're asking the service, right? Like
Yes.
speedtest.net or
Yeah.
within. Okay, yeah. Let us know if you're doing speedtest.net, if you're using connection benchmark, if you're using really anything else. That's going to kind of help us like kind of figure out exactly your true speeds. But if you
Also,
do, oh, go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say also, Ben, the connection benchmark now with the XR 1000, is that running it from the router out, or is it actually running it from the client out?
It's running from the router.
Right. So that test, if you're testing 5 gigahertz or the 2.4, you should end up with exactly the same numbers, because the particular band you're connecting through has no bearing on the actual speed test, because that test is running from the router out to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that may be able to get you a more accurate number here.
Well, that'll let him know what his maximum speeds are out to the internet from the router.
Mm-hmm.
But if his 2.4
Mhm.
band is that slow, then it is probably something we should look into, because it shouldn't be that slow unless there's a huge amount of Wi-Fi interference.
Yep. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So let us know. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, because with my test, I'm downloading what 7. I'm paying for 600. I'm getting 713.
Nice.
But then testing, I have to find a phone. Testing what that's getting, I know that it doesn't get anywhere near that because of the way that I've parsed out how things should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think just pending questions here. What's the service you're using?
Yeah. Also, he's standing next to the router. You want to take a couple steps back.
Yeah, you do not want to be right next to the router. You want to put yourself at least 5 feet away from the router, because when you get too close, there is interference just because of the noise and stuff that's coming off of the router.
Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't actually know that part. But it does make sense. It does make sense. All right, so we're waiting on service and test it a little bit farther away. Anything else? I just want to make sure that we could answer everyone here on the show.
No, I think that's probably where we are. If you're still having issues, let's send us an email. We'll try to follow up with the team.
Yeah, because again, this is a young product.
Yeah.
If you're running into this, I want to make sure that no one else is running into this
Yep.
either. So it can help out a lot of other folks out there. Cool. All right. Let me move down a little bit. Ooh. Okay, Robin. Want to make sure you got your question answered. So Robin's got a question about RBR 850, so Orbi Wi-Fi 6,
Mhm.
and since iOS 14, there is some connectivity loss or some dropouts. So we got to turn Wi-Fi off and then back on, and then it's back. Any ideas on that? Or you guys haven't seen anything like that on support or community?
I haven't been able to play with iOS 14 to see whether or not there's any issues with that. I do know in the past, whenever Apple's come out with a new OS, it tends to not be 100% bulletproof with existing devices until Apple's been able to update it a few times. And also when the separate manufacturers that it's trying to connect to have been able to fix any possible conflicts that they have with that iOS. So with 14, I haven't been able to test it to see. It might be that we need to have our engineers test iOS 14 on the RBR 850 and see whether or not there's any additional things Apple has added that's causing problems. But I have seen it in the past. Every new Apple OS that comes out has some bugs with some pieces of hardware until either Apple or the hardware manufacturer can adjust it, because Apple keeps making changes.
Didn't like a week or two ago, someone complained that they were getting a message of unsecure connection once they got this update or whatever?
I believe so.
Yeah. So there was some weird internet issues when that update launched, and there must be some settings in there you might want to mess with inside of iOS.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned that, because in the back of my mind, I remember looking that up at the time. And yeah, there was some additional security protocols that Apple was using that could be turned on that was causing problems with some devices.
Robin, I would actually, if you're still here in the chat, let us know if you see the same kind of issue, let's say on a tablet or on a laptop, a client device that's outside of the iOS ecosystem. That way we can kind of drill down a little bit more if it's an iOS 14 issue or if it's something with your system.
Yep.
All right. So we're actually almost down to our last 10 minutes here. So I'm going to start going rapid fire here. Woo! Let's do this. Robin will be waiting. Your updates. Mondo, we're also waiting on a couple updates from you as well in case you guys are still running into any issues. But let's keep going. Places and spaces 35. Is there any significant advantage using a wired bridge versus a wired backhaul?
A stability with a wired bridge is always going to be better than wireless.
Yeah, he's asking though, wired bridge. Does he mean, he must mean wireless backhaul?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and yeah, there's always having wired is the best thing because you get no interference, and so it's literally as if you were at the originating device instead of the access point that you're now using, because you've just got that straight connection. So yeah, wired's always better than wireless if you can do it on your bridge. But the reason why we've added the wireless ability is because most of the time people can't run cables between, or their houses are not wired up to make it easy.
Cool. Places and spaces. Let us know if we answer that, because it would make sense if it's wireless backhaul versus wired bridge. Because if it's both wired, then they're kind of like
they're basically the same.
Yeah. All right. So we'll answer on that one, and then we did get an update from Robin. No other problems. It's just iOS 14.
Then it's iOS 14, but that's good to note, and we should let our engineers know that they need to test against iOS 14.
Cool. So what we're gonna do here, so our folks in the live control room, which is Christian right now, he exports these the comments out to us, and then we'll make sure that we get these comments out to the right people. So as much as we help you, you guys help us at the same time too. So thank you very much for that. I'm not sure if we need another NETGEAR team at NETGEAR.com email in case we need to reach out to them offline or anything like that. What do you guys think? All right, Robin, if you want if you want to get in contact with us directly, and then we could kind of expedite this process a little bit more, send an email at NETGEAR@NETGEAR.com, and then we'll reach out to you offline, and then you can kind of help our engineers out a little bit to kind of dive a little bit more into your iOS 14 issue. Cool. All right. Let me see here. Oh, okay. So we got this one was actually one of first Tiptoe Turtle's questions, but you also got another follow-up, and I'm going to kind of bundle them all up together. Let's answer the first one. Since you're able to separate your guest network from your main network, is it safe to leave it open and unsecured so you can share freely with your local neighbors, or is that a bad idea? Follow-up question: did you pre-order your iPhone 12?
And the answer is it safe to leave it open for people to use? Yes, because with the guest network, it is just a straight pipe out to the internet, and it doesn't allow those people access to your local network. But me being the paranoid person I am, I probably wouldn't do that, because no matter how secure we've made things, there's always a better mousetrap out there and some hacker who will find some way of going in there and being able to hack through what we have. So I wouldn't feel really safe at leaving that just wide open. If you want your neighbors to use it, put a password on it and then tell the neighbors what the password is. But leaving it wide open is just asking for trouble. And right now we know it's perfectly secure, but 2 days from now, someone could come up with something that, breaks through it.
Yep. Better be safe than sorry. We did make things a little bit easier. I think there's like a couple Alexa commands where you could turn on and off guest network.
Yep.
We try to make it easy for you. It's configurable through the app as well. So I would agree with Michael. I don't use guest network unless I really need to. And also most of my friends, they just don't ask. So
and you can be very someone could come by and be very malicious, and if you have a router that doesn't have bandwidth controls already set up, they could go and they could connect in, turn on BitTorrent, and then say download as much and as fast as possible, and that'll eat up all your bandwidth, and you'll be in the house trying to figure out what's eating up your bandwidth and why you can't get out to the internet. And it's because they've got a peer-to-peer network that's sucking down so much data that you can't get through. I can do the same thing on my own home network with peer-to-peer stuff, so I know if you're going to open that up, they could basically stop you from using your network, and you probably would not even know.
Yep. So make sure your neighbors are not that technologically literate, where they know how to tort things and see things. So yeah, just better be safe than sorry. That's just kind of general advice here. All right, Places and Spaces 35 follow-up question: WAN aggregation or LAN aggregation, are these worth enabling on a router?
Well, WAN aggregation, the only reason to enable that is if you actually have two separate internet connections. Otherwise, you can't actually aggregate anything. And also, when you're aggregating it on the WAN side, you're not actually merging it into one channel or one road. It's actually two separate ones, and it's handing things off back and forth as each request goes out. So for instance, if you had one connection that was, 50 megabits and the other connection that was 100 megabits, it's not going to merge that into a 150 megabit pipe. Instead, it's going to be a 50 and 100, and it's just going to swap back and forth. And most people only have one WAN connection coming in anyway. So WAN aggregation doesn't happen that often, except in some businesses, and usually for failover in case one of their connections goes down. On the LAN side, that can be helpful. A lot of it has to do with how big of a internet pipe you actually have going out. If you have a pipe that's, say, more than a gig, then LAN aggregation could work, where you could actually grab two 1 gig ports together, and then it'll turn it into not really a 2 gig. It's still going to be doing back and forth between them, but it'll be able to maximize your internet connection. But most of the time when you're doing link aggregation, it's very specific needs. In general, there's no real reason to do it. But if you're in a big business and you have a lot of clients that are trying to talk at the same time, then that can help out.
Oh, awesome. That's a really good answer.
That's
Thank
awesome
you, Michael. Yeah,
answer.
no, really appreciate that. Yeah, Places and Spaces, drill it down. If it's just worth enabling, just, I guess, for the hell of it, I don't know. But
it doesn't hurt. It can be fun if you like to tinker.
Yeah, if you like to tinker,
then it can be fun.
Yeah, have like a specific use case for it, and then yes. But if not, probably don't gotta mess with it. Oh, and Tiptoe Turtle, your most important question: I am not upgrading, only because I have an iPhone 11, and I usually wait till my phones are on like hanging by a string, and then I upgrade. So that's my answer.
I am due for an upgrade, but I probably won't. So. I just want to answer a couple quick questions on a couple of things. Rapid fire. If you are just joining us, XR 700 probably beta's right now in sort of an alpha state, so it should be coming out soon. XR 500 beta. When's it going to be stable? It should be stable pretty soon. This last firmware looked really good, so yeah, I think we're finishing up that beta and probably going to make it official soon. And also XR 1000 out of stock right now. We're scrambling to get it in stock. So, check with us. Netgear.com is probably going to be the fastest way once it's back in stock to get one if you haven't already got one. Does the XR 1000 have a good Wi-Fi range? It has an awesome range.
Yep.
With Wi-Fi 6.
Awesome. All right. I think we can answer these last two questions, but before I get there, Ryan, I'm gonna call you Shady Joker. Shady Joker says thumbs up. Please give us the thumbs up. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Shady Joker, for mentioning.
Thank you.
It really helps us out. We want to get the shows to many eyes as possible. We want to make sure that we're still continuing to be able to do these shows. If no one's in the chat, no show. But if you guys are here, you guys enjoy this, you guys find it valuable, give us a thumbs up, and then we'll be able to get this into many more eyes.
And don't forget to subscribe.
And subscribe, please. We're
Like
almost to
and
51K.
subscribe. God.
We're almost
Yeah.
to 51K,
Yeah.
so
That's
we're almost there.
awesome. Almost
Awesome.
there.
All right, 1 minute, 2 questions. Hamad, let's see if we can do this in like 30 seconds. My question is on the combination of the different Bluetooth versions on the transmitter of Bluetooth and recipient devices. Is it better to base the latest Bluetooth version on the transmission signal on lower versions among the recipient devices, or have a lower Bluetooth version on the transmission side but have the latest Bluetooth version on receiving devices and to maintain stable and fast data? Anyone want to answer that?
Wow. Whew. Way over my head.
Let me look over that really
Woo!
fast.
All right.
With the version transmission. Well, the answer to that is it's going to be I'm running at the lowest common denominator.
Okay.
So
Wow.
whether it's on the client side or on the server side of the Bluetooth, whichever one is slower is going to control the connection between the two Bluetooth devices. If you're looking to future-proof it, then you want to make sure that your transmitting side is going to be the newest version of Bluetooth, because you're slowly going to be replacing those client devices with ones that support the newer versions of Bluetooth. But if you're just doing static right now, the hardware that you have, it's if all of your devices are on, say, Bluetooth 3.0 and your transmitter is 4, it's always going to talk at 3.0 between the two of them.
Makes sense.
But for future proofing, yeah, you want the transmitter portion to be the one that that's the highest spec on the Bluetooth, because you're going to be replacing your older devices over time. The same way we do with Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah. Wow. Really good answer there. Able to translate that because I kind of spat that off. I wasn't really. Want to make sure we got through that quick. Last one, Armin, can Ethernet coupler slow down the download speed on a mesh network? Is that like a joint Ethernet?
It's a joiner. It's an Ethernet joiner.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes and no. And the reason why it's both of those is when you're talking about a mesh network, you're actually talking about the wireless portion of your network, not the wired portion, because that's what the mesh is. It's a Wi-Fi mesh. But if you actually have a coupler in there on your router that's then going over to your modem, that's then going out to the internet, it is possible that it could actually slow things down. It shouldn't. And most of the time, those couplers, they're made well enough that shouldn't be a problem. But I happened to pull up some couplers online and looked, and there's one from Monoprice at 31 cents. I wouldn't use something that cheap, because you can pretty much guarantee quality is going to be so bad, you're going to get more resistance in the two connections on both sides, which means it could actually affect the speed. But in general, couplers and mesh are apples and oranges. You're talking wired as opposed to wireless.
Awesome. All right. So
All
we're
right.
just about to wrap up. Hamad, I do know you had a follow-up here. EX8000 have guest mode. I believe you need to have a router that does have a guest network, and then the EX8000 will amplify that. So
Yep.
it doesn't have it built in, but if you have a router that does, you will have guest network.
It will.
Awesome.
If your router has it, then the extender
It will support it.
Awesome. All right, guys, we are out of time. Really great show here today. Really appreciate everyone in the chat, and also my special guests every week. Really appreciate you guys here joining me and pretty much answering everyone's questions. I think we actually got through everything today. So,
I hope we did.
awesome.
Yeah, I hope we did some good.
What are our likes now? 20.
21?
All right. We got 21 now. All right. It's at least a little bit up. But either way, thank you guys for joining. We'll be back next week for next Friday, 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. please like and subscribe and hit that bell if you want to get notified every time we go live. Otherwise, we will see you guys soon. All right.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
See everyone
Thanks.
later.
Later, y'all.